So I left you guys the completed first part of these notes. I was going to walk you through them, but my handwriting's really bad, so I figured that it would be better for you to just copy those down. It just gives you a little bit of an idea of what all of the different parts of an expression are. And you guys are also relatively familiar already with combining like terms, so some of those pieces are just kind of cleaning up some of the terms that you might not know for certain yet. But what I do want to do is I want to take you to the second page and I want to walk you through one of these problems, one of the trickier ones. Specifically, I want to look at example number 4. Once I'm done with this, I want you guys to fill out the rest of those other 3 problems and we will talk about it next time. So, you know that combining like terms means you are taking everything that looks exactly the same and putting it together. But number 4 is a little bit different because you got a little bit more work that you have to do before you can do that. We have got things like this. A's hanging out outside of parentheses and 2B's hanging outside of parentheses. So just by order of operations, you want to take care of that first. I can't really combine much if I don't get rid of that first. Everything should look like addition and subtraction in the end. So hopefully, we've done a couple things with this so far this year, but hopefully from the past you remember, that means that property is the distributive property, which means I am taking this A and I'm multiplying it by everything on the inside of those parentheses. I'm taking this 2B and multiplying it by everything inside those parentheses. So let's take care of that. I've got, this is going to turn into 8A minus A times B. I can't really do much there, so that's all it's going to be. AB is really saying A times B. Okay, so I've taken care of that piece. Now I want to do A times 6. Well, actually, negative A times 6. You don't want to lose that sign. So if I'm doing negative A times 6, that's going to give me a negative 6A. And now that set of parentheses is all taken care of. Let's move on to the other one. Kind of like we saw in the first piece over here, when I'm multiplying an A and a B together, I can't really do much. So if I'm taking 2 B's and multiplying it by A, kind of the same thing is going to happen. The 2 doesn't change, but then all I'm going to be left with is an A times B. Or a B times A. But as we looked at up top, one of the rules of this is your variables should really be in alphabetical order in order to be in standard form. Okay, that's taken care of. Now this second part, I'm going to have a negative. I'm taking 2B and I'm multiplying it by a B. Now here, I can do something. Remember what we were talking about with when I looked at algebra tiles, and I was saying I had an x squared algebra tile. That meant I had an x times an x. The same thing happens here with my b's. I have a 2b times a negative 1b. So I'm going to have a negative 2 there. And then my b's, the same thing is going to happen. It's going to turn into a b squared. And then I'll have a plus a on the end. Nothing's really going on with that guy down there. Now, if you want, you may want to get in the habit of putting shapes around the things that are the same or coloring things that are the same, whatever's going to work for you. So, like, for example, I've got an 8A to begin with. I'm going to circle everything that has just an A in it. So I have 8A. Make sure you're keeping the signs with them. I have a negative 6A, and then I have a plus A. I'm going to just do the same thing for the other stuff. I will put a square around everything that is AB, and I'll put a triangle around my B squareds. Now there's only one B squared, so that's not too much to deal with right there. But then we want to follow the rules of standard form up top. I need to make sure that my biggest exponents go first. That's my first rule of thumb, and then after that I want my exponent or my variables to be in alphabetical order. So the highest exponent I have is that squared on the 2b. So I'm going to say that in standard form, when I'm reducing this, this is 2b squared. I'm going to cross out stuff as I use it, so I know that I don't have to deal with that anymore. Next thing, alphabetical order. The other two things I have are just an A or an AB. Just an A is going to come first, so let me combine all those things. I've got an 8A, and I'm going to subtract 6A from that. That's going to give me 2A, and then I'm going to add one more A to it. So that'll give me 3A. Get rid of all that. And now the last thing I have is I have negative AB, and I'm adding 2 ABs to it. If I do that, it's just going to leave me with a plus AB. Okay? So go ahead, and I want you to try those top three, and we will talk about it next time.